Good morning, and welcome to a weekly dose of prayer from Fairbluff Baptist Church. Today is part 5 in the 5-part series of prayer where Jesus prayed in the Garden of Gethsemane as recorded by Matthew in Matthew chapter 26, beginning in verse 36. Then Jesus went with his disciples to a place called Gethsemane, and he said to them, "Sit here while I go over there and pray." He took Peter and the 2 sons of Zebedee along with him, and he began to be sorrowful and troubled. Then he said to them, "My soul is overwhelmed with sorrow to the point of death. Stay here and keep watch with me." Going a little farther, he fell with his face to the ground and prayed, "My Father, if it is possible, may this cup be taken from me, yet not as I will, but as you will." And this 5th challenge in the prayer of Jesus at the Garden of Gethsemane comes from the last part of verse 39, where Jesus prayed, "Not my will, but thy will be done." And I call this prayer challenge surrender prayer. And the challenge to follow in the footsteps of Jesus in this prayer pattern is that I want you to accept a challenge for a week or even a month. That the first thing you do when you get up in the morning is that you get out of your bed and you stand possibly with your hands raised to the Lord, and you offer one of these surrender prayers to cover you for that day. The first surrender prayer is the prayer that Jesus prayed in Matthew 26. So I would challenge you to pray, "Father, today, not my will, but your will be done in my life today." The second prayer challenge of surrender that you could choose comes from Mary, as recorded in Luke chapter 1, verse 38. And if you stood before the Lord when you got out of bed and said, "Behold, I am the servant of the Lord. Be it unto me according to your word." A third option would be the prayer that John the Baptist prayed in John 3:30, where he said, "He must increase, but I must decrease." And then the fourth option would be Paul praying in Galatians chapter 2, verse 20. Stewie is trying to get to my phone, and I'm trying desperately to ignore him. Paul prayed in Galatians 2:20, "I have been crucified with Christ. It is no longer I who live, but Christ who lives in me. And the life I live in the flesh, I live by faith in the Son of God, who loved me and gave himself for me." I know that it would make a tremendous difference in all of our lives if each morning the first thought that we had was to pray a surrender prayer to God. When we ask God to use us and to bless us, He will do as we ask, because we're asking according to His word and according to His will. I pray that you will be blessed today and each day this week as you surrender to the Lord every part of who you are. I look forward to seeing you next week.